Renovating a 5-inch gauge sweet pea steam locomotive. Part 3. After removing the wire mesh spark arrestor from within the smoke box, I use my vacuum cleaner to remove the ash and steam oil mixture. I show the method I use to clean up the buffers in the lathe, and I look at the wear in the motion parts that will need attention. I also adjust the crosshead slipper using the locknut bolts, and the cleaning and painting sequences begin. This internal tube of wire mesh is a really good idea to stop sparks from going up the chimney and burning the passengers on the train. The only problem I found with this principle was the amount of ash and steam oil mixture which had accumulated and solidified in the bottom of the smoke box over time, and I was a bit concerned that this may ignite. That's why I removed the wire gauze tube. If I need a spark arrestor, I will make one to fit externally on top of the chimney. With the gauze tube removed, it really was difficult to get all the filth out of the smoke box. It was a real mess of steam oil and ash, very combustible, and it was all over the bottom of the smoke box. It took a while, but finally I got it clean. I refitted the crossbar with some difficulty, and I don't know why, because it's a good fit. There's a lot of play in the central shaft of the mechanism that holds the smokebox door tight to the smokebox. I might bush this. You have to mess about to get it in the right position before you tighten the locking bar. In this front view, if you have a close look at the smokebox saddle at the front, it's a bit of a mess. I intend to scrape off this mess and repaint the front. You have to decide how far you want to take a model like this. It's 39 years old. I don't want it to look like it was built yesterday. I showed this clip in the previous episode. I took the buffer out, put it in the lathe, cleaned it up and refitted it in the buffer stock. And now it's not too shiny, but it looks a lot better. Here is the process. First of all, using the tailstock chuck to align the buffer, I grip it by the edges. So I'm doing the central part first and the rear of the buffer. I started the job by using some green Scotch-Brite, but this wasn't coarse enough, so I resorted to 400 grade wet-to-dry sandpaper, which was just right. It didn't scratch the buffer very badly, and in fact it looked like scale tool marks once it had been done. Health and safety warning: be very careful when you're doing this. My hand is quite close to the chuck, but it will only injure me if I put my hand into the chuck whilst it's revolving. Slowly but surely the buffer starts to look a lot better. I could remachine it. I could also obtain a mirror finish, which is not what I want. This model has to look its age. I do not want it to look like it was built last Thursday. This job wasn't difficult and didn't take very long, and I think this is about how I want the buffer to look. A few slight marks remain and 1 or 2 scratches, but that's okay. Once again, here it is fitted to the engine. 1 down and 3 to go. I don't need to video the process on the other 3 buffers, I'll just get on with it. Jobs like this are ideal to do when you're waiting for paint to dry. Time for a bit of slow motion. Here I ran the engine at a faster speed, but it's still running in slow motion using the video editor. You can hear the knocks, and there are quite a few, and I can see where they're all coming from, and they're all easily fixable. The return crank needs a new bush. That's very sloppy. And so is the crosshead. It moves from side to side. The slipper needs adjusting. And there's play in the small end bearing and also play in the big end bearing on the connecting rod. That's the really great thing about steam engines. No matter how bad they are, they always run. If you watch the series about the engine that was built in 1896, that was a disaster area, but it ended up running quite well. Even though there wasn't a gland on the piston rod, it was a dummy. This engine is very well made. Look at the attention to detail. These are the adjusting bolts on top of the crosshead. My only problem with them is they are not all the same size. I think I'll probably change these so that the heads are exactly the same. I took one of them out to have a close look at it, and while it was out, I adjusted the lock nut, moved it up a little bit, so when I put it back in, it put pressure on the phosphor bronze slipper that presses against the guide bar. I had to do this with all 4 of the adjusters, and once I got the setting right, I tightened the lock nut to stop it moving about. This was quite tricky, but eventually I got the lock nut tight and was able to remove the spanner, which is like a ring spanner. Even though this small adjustment is only at one side of the engine, now the crosshead is running much better, and there's an inherent smoothness that there wasn't before I adjusted the crosshead. Now it's clean-up time. There's an awful lot of dirt on this engine. It's not new, it's very old, and I need to remove this before I paint it. I'm not going to paint all of the engine, just certain parts where the paint is damaged or just looks terrible. I tried to think what I was doing 39 years ago in 1987. I started my recording studio in 1984, so it was still in its infancy 3 years later. Back to the job. I'm going to clean up the brass cladding as well, but not in this episode. I just need to get rid of most of the filth and the oil and grime. I'm using WD-40 as a degreaser, which is possibly not the best stuff to use, but it removes the oil and cleans the parts. The etch primer on this part, which is the crosshead guide, is in really good condition. I'm giving it a coat of HMG Paints C71 Satin Black. And when this has dried, it will be virtually undetectable and blend in with the existing paint. That's it for this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.